Well, hello and welcome to another Happy Paws Sunday afternoon chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We today have Lisa Smart, our founder, with us to talk about a much anticipated topic, our adoption process. But before I start chatting to Lisa, may I just ask everyone to please like, subscribe and share this video. And also, please remember that the reason why we started this whole Sunday chat program is to raise money for our 10th anniversary legacy appeal. And if you would like to give to the appeal, I will link the Just Giving page in the box below. So hello, Lisa. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, hi Dominique, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Very warm in London. What's it like where you are?
Oh, stifling. But I'm not complaining.
No, no,
I'm not complaining.
we haven't had a summer so far. It's here now.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Lisa, I wanted to chat to you today about our adoption process because I know it's a topic people are genuinely interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of queries and questions. And I know the process because I've been through it twice. But if you haven't, sometimes it's hard just to read about a process. People actually want to ask you about the process. So I've written down a few questions that I would ask you as a potential Happy Paws mummy. And you're going to help us today. So thank you very much.
Okay.
So if somebody is interested in adopting a Happy Paws dog, what is the first thing they need to do?
Well, the first thing is that they should really look at our website. All the information about the application form is there, and they need to either download it, which they can obviously email back to me, fill it out, obviously, and then send it back, or they can print it off and they can send it back, snail mail sort of thing, sort of the address is all there. And then once the application is received back at the office, we just put them all to one side because we do get quite a few, obviously, throughout the week. So we tend to deal with them on a specific sort of day or an afternoon that we've got free. And then we just have a little read through and just sort of get a feel for the family. And if the application looks sort of suitable for a Happy Paws dog, then obviously then we do give the prospective mum and dad a call and just have a chat with them about their application and talk it through and actually get a feel for what sort of dog they're looking for. Now, what I mean by that is, I mean, what sort of character, age, boy, girl, all that sort of thing, all that information just really gets written down. And that gives us the opportunity then to go back to the trainers in Turkey and give a full rundown of the family and what they can offer and what they're looking for. Because I have a huge spreadsheet of many golden retrievers, all absolutely beautiful, and cockers and, a couple of setters. But the thing is, it's really trying to think about whether the dog would match the family. And if I can give you just a rough example, is if maybe some of our older families, like for instance, we had one a few months ago, older family, so really not looking for a younger dog, looking for an older dog. Yeah. So that way we can start to really look at sort of who we've got available that we might think would fit in with that family lifestyle. It's very similar, obviously, to when you were thinking, when you said to me, Lisa, I'd like a little dog.
I know.
And the little dog you got.
there she is. But I think she looks like a stuffed toy in her bed with her stuffed toys
around.
Yeah,
she does. I mean, she, sort of like, yeah, she had a long walk or something this morning.
She sleeps all day.
Yeah. But if you remember that our conversation as an example, sort of it's very much about what your requirements are. And then we start to build up that picture. And then we start to think, right, okay, who possibly, and we whittle it down. I mean, obviously with Layla, it was easy. Sort of, I think I suggested her to you straight away.
I'm looking for a little dog. You went,
So that was sort of like a light bulb moment, wasn't it? You know, so that was fairly simple and straightforward, really. But that's the thing, is that it's really about, you know, sort of like really getting to know the family, and it's not just one conversation. We do have many conversations, particularly if it's a new family that we don't know, looking for their new family pet. So yeah, it's quite an interesting time, really. But it's for us, it's all about the research on the family, and then we can start to really look in earnest about who we think. And it's only our opinion. It's not here's a dog, you must have this dog. It's, this is the dog that we think would match your family circumstances and what you're looking for the best. Now, some people, the normal reaction is, oh my goodness, yes, 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 oh my, and then we have to almost like pull it back a bit, you know, sort of thing, to just keep the conversations open for a good few weeks, to make sure that we're giving all the information on the dog's character and what they're like and this and that and health and all the rest of it. But if the conversation sort of goes along the lines of, ooh, not quite what we're looking for one reason or another, that doesn't mean that we get cross and put the application to the bottom of the pile. That doesn't happen. So we go, okay, let's think about why that dog wasn't, you know, one that should be considered. And then we sort of have a rethink. But the most important thing here, Dominique, is that at that process, we only speak to one family about one dog at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that dog is not right for that family, you then would move on to another family, but you're not. Yeah, I totally understand that. So it starts with the form, then a phone call, and anyone who's watched any of our other chats, Gareth and Paul, Joe, Kirsty, Nikki, have all said it all started with a phone call with Lisa. They've all said that about you trying to find them the perfect dog for them, but also finding the perfect family for the dog. It's both ways around. I think Kirsty said the most important thing is to trust your instinct, which is really nice. But there are some requirements, aren't there? Families do need to. I mean, first of all, we adopt only into the UK. That's one of the things. We don't. Our dogs come. It's for UK families where we adopt to. But are there other requirements that people need to be aware of when they're thinking about taking any dog, adopting any dog, but particularly a Happy Paws dog?
Yeah, we are quite strict on our no children policy, not because we think our dogs would do anything to the children, don't get me wrong, because our dogs are fully assessed and they're all fabulous. But the thing is that I can't 100% say exactly, you know, because we can't test with children of a certain age. And we want children to be of that age where they can understand. So we do have a 12-year-old limit. I think that is fairly standard within the rescue community. I think some are a bit older. I might be wrong, but I think like the Dogs Trust RSPCA, I think it's 16, but I might be wrong there. So we go down to sort of 12 because as a charity, we want to work with families, you know, to try and find the right pet for them. And I think it's really important that children do have pets in their lives. We're obviously open to that, but it's also important to make sure that we have that risk assessment, you know, all of those things that need to be considered. So it's very important. But the good thing is that all of our dogs, you know, we have a very strict policy regarding how we test them in Turkey anyway, which is an ongoing process. And one of those tests is actually handling, which is, you know, the trainer will sort of, you know, feel them all over. The vets do it. They want to look at their paws. They want to look in their mouth. They want to look in their ears, because children, you know, and also how they react to, like, if, say, for instance, the trainer dropped the toy. So we drop the toy and we want to see whether, if the trainer went to pick up that toy, whether the dog would be fed up, you know, a bit cross that somebody tried to take the toy. So it's very important that we know all of this information, because, you know, children and adults, you know, we can all do that. We drop something and we, you know, we want to pick it up. So we have to be sure that the dog's not going to, you know, adversely react. but we just want to try and get that balance right. So what is also very important with our families who have children is that they've normally had, you know, dogs before in the past, or they've had experience of dogs. And the children are not frightened of dogs and things like that. So all of those conversations are had. So it is quite a complex process before we even start talking about, you know, sort of start talking about a potential little one. And we always say that our adoption is a process. It is not you know, like a normal, here's a dog, do you want it? It's not like that. It very much is a process and can take, it's a lengthy process as well.
And all of that is one of the reasons why we don't put up dogs available for adoption on our website, isn't it?
Yes, 100%. We used to do that way back in the day, you know, and oh my goodness. And what we found was that I want every potential family to enjoy the experience of adopting through us. That's very important to me. And what I found way back in the, you know, beginning, the embryonic stages of Happy Paws, was very much that. So we had this sort of like, you know, 5 or 6 dogs, say, listed on the website, and then I'd be saying, with all respect, well, no, that dog's not right for you. No, that dog's not right for you. No, that's so it was always negative, 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 because I was always so conscious about matching them so carefully, because not every golden retriever would fit into every family. So, and I didn't really, it didn't sort of sit comfortably also with me, with people would look at the picture before the information.
Right. Yeah.
And that was always so interesting, because we've all done it. I mean, we're not, you know, we look and we go, oh, that's really lovely. Oh, I really want that dog. And I'm like, actually, no, that's not how we want to be. We want to do things differently. We want to do things more proactively. And my goal is that we don't get dogs given back to us, because that, you know, oh, you know,
that must be hugely important, that you want the dogs to have permanent homes.
Yes.
Or what are they called online? Forever homes.
Forever. Yeah.
Forever homes. Forever homes. So there is a cost to adopt one of our dogs, isn't there, to the family? I mean, obviously there's a cost, huge cost to the charity when we rescue. Yes. But if somebody's looking to adopt, how much would it cost the family?
Yeah, well, we asked the family to contribute towards the transport costs. Now, the transport costs alone are running at approximately, if you take into consideration all the paperwork and the transport and this and the import duties and blah, 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 like, you know, it just, oh God, it just goes on and on. It's probably about £1,100 per dog, but import duties we get back, thankfully. That's good. So I have to pay it and then I have to apply to get them back again. So that's good. And then also the family, we hope, will be able to gift aid. So that's a little bit of extra money. So basically the £750 plus the gift aid covers the transport cost. So that is what I do. And obviously we have the kenneling cost as well now, for the 2 days that they have to spend in kennels when they arrive. But, you know, I mean,
so £750.
750 plus the 80 for the kenneling costs. So, you know, you're looking at 830. But what you're, in my view, what you're getting is a really lovely family pet.
I think that's right. I mean, I'm sure there are people watching that have tried to buy a dog in the last couple of years, particularly since COVID, and that is such a small fraction of what a pedigree golden retriever would cost. Although we can't always guarantee they're 100% pedigree golden retrievers, but that's not why people are getting our dogs. They're not looking to show them, breed them. They come neutered, spayed and neutered already. What I really loved is the pet passport that they come with, and all of the vaccinations and all of the work you put in to make sure that that dog has everything it needs before it leaves Turkey and on the way here. I think Gareth and Paul talked about how impressed their vet was with what he received when their dogs first went to the vets. That's really important, isn't it?
Very important. And we've, you know, we've made sure that we do everything. We do obviously the microchip, obviously to travel. They have their tetra test to show that they're rabies, they don't have rabies. They have their brucella tests, and we actually do that twice, once on arrival into the centre. Then they mix with dogs that have not got brucella because they've all been tested. But as a reputable charity, we test again about 4 weeks before they travel. So that all comes in the paperwork with all of their mixed vaccinations, their kennel cough, their flea, worm, everything. And in their little passport, I rather like the little picture at the front there.
I know
You
they get a
do
little,
have to go abroad. You've got your little passport, which
they've
Layla's
got,
got.
I know she's got a lovely little passport all of her own. I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So once a family's been approved,
Mm.
that's so they do their form and then they get approved, and then you start to find them their perfect dog. Once you've found them the dog and everybody's happy, how long does it take before the arrival day?
It's normally 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Because because Turkey's a non-EU country and we are now a non-EU country, it's a little bit more it's a little bit more tricky with the paperwork, because because it's not Turkey's non-EU, we have to abide by, which is absolutely fine. We call it the 4-month rule, which is basically preparing them to travel legally into the country. So they'll have their rabies, for instance, vaccination. We then wait 21 days. Then they can have their tetra test. And the tetra test, we do what we call a sampling date, which is when their blood is taken for the tetra. And that is day 1. Then we have to wait 90 days for that tetra to be legal to get them into the UK. So in all honesty, 4 months from start to finish. Once we've got the tetra back, and it's normally we would only rehome once we'd got that tetra back, because obviously that's their ticket into the UK really. Without that, they can't travel. So we tend to wait. So it's the dogs are normally with us between sort of 5 and 6 months. And then I've got to then sort out their travel plans. Which is always amusing, you know, when you've got so many to worry about. But we do what we can, and we get them what we call their, their spot. And then obviously then we'll, if an adoption is agreed, then the family knows exactly, like you did, exactly when Layla was going to arrive. You know everything. Everything's kept up to date.
Yeah, you get an arrival day. You get an arrival day, and what I really love is the communication that goes on. Not just with you, but also with the other dogs that are going to arrive at the same time. You have a little group, don't you?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And I never tire of that group, because obviously I do it all the time, and it just makes me smile, because everybody gets to know everybody else. I say, right, okay, on board we have, and it sort of goes down, and everybody gets so super excited. But it's really nice to have that sort of personal contact with all the other families, because it's really good, because once the dogs arrive, I mean, they've been through a lot. They've been with us, then they go and transported, and then they have to stay in kennels for a couple of days, and then obviously as families we pick them up. So but it's nice for when the families actually have arrival day and everybody meets in the same place pretty much, and everybody knows everybody. So there's none of like, oh, who are you, who are you picking up? It's all really nice, and just runs through the vein of Happy Paws of being a family.
I think what from a family point of view, you don't feel you get wrapped up in the excitement, and you also don't feel like you're the only one. It's a Facebook group. It's a private one. We share stories, we share apprehensions, we share my vet said this, what did yours say, that sort of thing. And we have it for about a month before, don't we? A month before arrival day, you set up the group. But also it carries on beyond arrival day sometimes, and people share pictures and how the dogs are getting on. It eventually peters out because people get back on with their own lives.
Yeah, of course.
It's not invasive in your life forever. So tell me about arrival day then. What's arrival day, when the actual families meet their dogs?
Arrival day is just do you know, seriously, been doing this 10 years, and that is, I always say that that's the best day for me, because personally, I feel that I've watched over, really cared for these dogs, even though it's from afar, really cared for them, put my heart and soul into their safety. The team have worked incredibly hard to prepare them to come and live in the UK. And I see it as like they're mine. They're all mine. And you know, I'm always, you know, super excited when I say I hand over the baton to the families. And when I do that, I get a real personal sense of pride. I'm so proud of what the Happy Paws team has achieved. These dogs come out happy, healthy, looking good. You know, absolutely, there really isn't any issues. You know, and I say to every family, look, as long as you have no expectation, just let it happen. You know, be patient, let it happen, let them just settle into your way of life. Because, you know, as I say to all of them, if you had my three, like if I gave you my three, they'd be a nightmare for a few days because they wouldn't know your routine. If I had Layla for a few days, I'd be like probably tearing my hair out for 2 days thinking, oh my goodness, this little pocket rocket. But once she settled into our way of life, she'd be fine. So that's what I mean about sort of, you know, the patience and the time, and also the time, you know, sort of just allowing them. They've had a lot of change and they just need to relax into their new life. And because we work with the most amazing families, they understand that. You know, they understand the need to just give these dogs space and not rush them out in the first 5 minutes, you know, meeting all the, you know, running around, and, you know, because at the end of the day, they don't know you and they don't know where they are.
I totally agree and understand. I mean, regular viewers may know that Layla is my second Happy Paws dog. So I've got two examples, recent examples in my head. And let me just tell you something about Layla. The very first, I would say for a good 7 to 10 days, I was taking her out in the morning and in the evening, and she was not going to the toilet at all. So I'd take her out and she'd wander around, sniff everything, have a lovely time. And then we'd come back home, and then within 10 minutes, she would have a little accident on my rug. And I'd go, we've just been out. So then we go on the evening walk, does the same, come back and have a little accident. And it went on, not every time, but let's say 50% of the time we'd go for a walk and then she'd come back and have a little accident. After about 10 days, she got it. Oh, I'm going to go for a walk at that time every morning and at that time every evening. And
Yeah.
all of that stopped when she knew in her mind
Yeah.
when walkies would be. She was so much happier. But you can't explain it to her. The only thing you can do is by demonstration that this is what we're going to do every day. And now she hasn't had an accident at all for a long, long time because she's a good little girl.
Because she's perfect.
Practically perfect in every way. Well, and I really mean that. It's 4 months. And I was actually thinking when I was on the dog walk this morning, we are almost simpatico now. You know that we walk at the same pace. She now follows me everywhere I go. But that takes time. It's not going to happen a week after they arrive. And people, I think for anyone who's thinking about adoptions, they need to understand that, don't they?
Absolutely. And I think it's just about that expectation and understanding. And it's like I say, just giving them the time and the patience to understand your way of life. Your way of life is different to mine, and we all have to accept. And this is the thing. I think Archie had one accident. That was the first night he was here. And we put that down to time change, food change, travel, this, that, the other. I mean, but to be honest with you, I couldn't care less. It was, you know, it just happened, and that was absolutely fine. My two got up in the morning, and Molly and Maisie were like, "Oh, look what he's done, Mum!" Like they were like looking as if like, "Oh, you know," and I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, it doesn't matter, it's fine." And
And
never,
yeah, it was absolutely fine. I've now replaced the rug. I no longer have that rug. But and to be honest, I've had that rug for a long time. It probably smelled of every other dog that had ever been in my house. So it was
oh,
just a natural thing for her to do.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely fine. And now she's grown. The other thing is that she was quite young. She's a lot younger than
Yeah.
Archie, so she's
Yeah.
about 2. And she just needed a bit of time, and she got it. And you can see how stressed out she is. She hasn't moved, and she really doesn't. If I move, she'll move. But
Oh.
if I'm sitting here, she knows exactly where I am. So thank you so much for explaining the process. So just to summarize,
Yeah.
the first thing people do is need to go on our website, download the form, fill
Yeah.
it out. It's about 4 pages long, lots
Mhm.
of detailed questions, send it back. You will then, in due course, contact the family, have a chat.
Yes.
Then you may suggest some, if they get approved, you may suggest some dogs. And then you go back and forth to see if you can find them the perfect dog for their family and for them. And then once it's approved, it's about 3 or 4 months before your rescue dog will arrive. And then you have a wonderful arrival day where you get to meet the dog and take them home. And it's a very exciting time. And for you, now, what did you say? How do you get paid, Lisa?
Oh, in cuddles, in cuddles. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm almost like that, that crazy woman that like bowls everyone over to get to the front. I'm like, I just it's all like,
I
get out the
know.
way, get out the way. But the good thing, the one good thing about the kennel situation is that obviously we have very, very good kennels, and Claire, who owns the kennels, is absolutely brilliant, and her staff, and they really take care of our kids. But when they arrive on like the Saturday to be picked up on the Monday, I get to spend some sneaky time with them in their play park. So, I could literally, I think Claire almost has to like throw me out, because it's just like, right, get out, like we've got things to do. But it's just so lovely, to sort of just be there with them all, and traveling backwards and forwards to Turkey, I know them all anyway.
You
So
do, don't you?
that's really nice. It's like seeing old friends. The last one, the one that really struck me the last time that we did this was Dylan, Diane's dog. Yeah, so that was funny, because he was the one with the hair that sort of stuck up.
Yes, he does. He has a little
Yeah,
tuft.
the Mohican, yeah, that would not go down. So it's just really nice to see him again, and all the other dogs, and it's just a really nice experience. But the main thing is, on the Monday when we pick up the dogs, is that I do actually take a step back, and I don't sort of don't get too sort of invested, because it's the family's time. It's a very special moment, and they must be allowed to have that. So each dog comes out one by one, and then all the families and myself go, oh, like, gush, 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 and then they can go off for a nice walk. But the point is that I don't want to spoil that moment for anybody, that first meeting.
I cannot tell you how nervous Dan and I were 6 years ago when we were collecting Jake.
Oh yeah.
We'd had golden retrievers before, but there was a nervousness that we had in ourselves, and we knew that we couldn't project that nervousness to the dog. But that experience is new to you. But the moment the dog comes out, the dog sort of takes away all of that, and you just fall in love immediately. You feel like you already know them because
Yes.
you've had 4 months of updates, but
Yes.
it's just such a wonderful experience. It's just such a unique and wonderful experience.
It
And then
is.
all of a sudden Lisa goes, thank you. Okay, well, bye then. Off you go with your dog. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's my dog, and you drive home. It was a lovely time. A lovely time. It was slightly different with Layla. But it was just the most amazing moment to have her in my life.
Yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely. That's the thing. And the obviously, talking just quickly, the support does not stop once you've picked the dog up. Every family has the opportunity to join the Happy Paws family and friends. That is a group strictly for families and people that mean something to the charity, like the vets and the fosters and this and that, but predominantly families. And it's important because it's nice for you to share your experiences. We say in the good times and the bad. If we love to hear about all of our dogs and what they're up to, but we also like to be there for our families when the dreaded day comes and they lose their dog. And it's very important that the family feels supported at that time. So Happy Paws is very much from rescue to the end as far as we're concerned. And yeah, I mean, it just works really, really well. So I've got 13 very excited families for September, by the way, so watch this space.
Oh, wow. 13.
Oh.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah, that's going to
amazing.
be a day. That is.
Yeah, that's going to be a real day.
You should come down and do a talk,
I
a
might just come.
YouTube thing.
I
Yeah.
might just do that. I might just do that. I'll be down with my little iPhone. I'll be down there. Oh, Lisa, oh, look, someone's woken up. Were we making too much noise,
Hey.
Angel Girl? Yeah,
Oh, baby.
too
That's
much
okay.
noise,
Oh,
too much
oh,
noise.
too much
Thank,
love.
thank you so much for joining us for another week.
Oh, you're
Um,
welcome.
and anybody who's interested in adoptions, I'll put the website, the actual page on our website down in the box below. I will also put our 10th anniversary Just Giving link. Please, if you could spare a few pounds just to help us with that. We're doing quite well. We're on our way. We're
Yep.
definitely on our way to our target, but we've got until I think it's September is we've got a walk, which we may do a little chat about that coming up soon. And if you want any information, please follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us for another week. And I think it's Lisa and I back next week to talk about another subject that people are
Yay.
interested in. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Oh, thanks, Dominique. Bye now.
Bye-bye.